Hello and welcome to Todd Talk, where insight meets inspiration. I'm your host, Todd Hiller, and I'm an author, speaker, and longtime community leader, here to guide you on a journey towards fulfillment and balance. In every episode, we'll explore ways to fill life's emptiness, helping you uncover practical tools to create harmony, purpose, and happiness. Whether it's thriving in your career, nurturing personal growth, or simply finding joy in the everyday, Todd Talk is your space for real conversations and actionable advice. So let's thrive together, personally, professionally, and beyond. This is Todd Talk, and I'm thrilled to have you here.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to Todd Talk. Today we're going to talk about the difference between doing something that you find uncomfortable and doing something that pushes you a little bit outside your comfort zone. And it's a very important thing to distinguish, I think, a very important difference to point out and highlight. If you are going to go outside your comfort zone, it's a beautiful way to grow. It's a great way to do things you might not be comfortable with, or to get yourself involved in something that you have always liked or found meaningful, but you want to get a little bit more involved in or dive a little deeper. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it may be scary at first, yes, but going outside your comfort zone gives you the ability to grow, and we are nothing without growth. You know, we put seeds in the ground. We don't expect them to stay there till next year, and then maybe we'll dig them up and try again. We put them in the ground because we want them to grow, and we as people are no different. We should always be willing to grow, to get better, to go outside our comfort zone and do things that make us feel like we're going to grow and we're going to get to a better place. And yes, it will be scary, but it is absolutely necessary. If you have ever wanted to get better at something, whether it's playing an instrument, public speaking, working with people, group projects, better at math and accounting, whatever it is, at some point when we work on things and work through it, you need to go to a place where your comfort zone starts to fade away and you're kind of towing that line of saying, oh, I know how to do like what I used to do in this space, but I don't know how to do what I want to do in this space, but that's okay. That is very different from being uncomfortable. And the difference here is that the things that make you uncomfortable typically won't lead to growth because you will always be so worried and so scared and, quite frankly, downright nervous to do them that you won't pull out the correct type of growth. You will pull out something very different, and it will look like apprehension and hesitation. And instead of growing, I think you'll just end up in a really stagnant place that doesn't even allow for the idea of growth, let alone any growth to actually take place. So let's dive into that a little bit. Examples of things that push you outside your comfort zone. These are things that you are already doing, just not doing to the extent that you might want to do them, and that's where the stepping outside your comfort zone comes from. I was talking to a very good friend of mine the other day, and the example I used was giving a church sermon, maybe, a small sermon. So if you're someone who always goes to church, and that's very important to you, but you're usually sitting, in the church listening, and all of a sudden someone says to you, hey, I would love it if you could give us 10 minutes of your time on your thoughts on a certain subject, you might think, oh, God, that's not something I'm used to. That is definitely outside my comfort zone. That is definitely something I haven't done before. It makes me a little worried and a little nervous. Now, that's okay, but you are invested in the church and you find it meaningful and it's something you enjoy doing, so it's not something that's uncomfortable to you. It's just something that goes a little bit outside of what you're used to doing within that space. The same is true for being a student or a teacher. If you have ever been a student or part of an audience and listening to a topic, and someone says, hey, why don't you present on this topic for us? Because, you seem to know a lot about it, and I've heard that you're pretty well read on the subject. Why don't you come up here and give us 5 or 10 minutes of your thoughts on the matter? You might say, oh, man, no, I don't want to do that because that's outside my comfort zone. I'm always used to being the listener. But if it's something you're passionate about, and it is something you truly know a lot about, and they're asking you to give your thoughts on the matter, then that's great, because once you accomplish that and once you work through that and walk through that and actually give the presentation, you take the 10 minutes, you speak what's on your mind, you speak what's in your heart, you give the people information that you know and that you know it inside and out. So yes, it was outside your comfort zone. Yes, you have never done that before. Maybe you've never given a presentation to that big of an audience or to that type of audience. But you know what's in your heart, you are passionate about that subject, and you're interested in it, and it means a lot to you. So doing something that means a lot to you, one, is beautiful, and that's what we should spend our time on. We have a whole episode about that, right? We spend our times in the thing we find meaningful and the things we love, and where the things we love and the things we find meaningful intersect is really where we can thrive, and that's in our main wheelhouse of doing some really amazing things. So that's what we do. But if you have this thing in your heart that you know a lot about and you're passionate about and you feel comfortable in that space to begin with, going outside your comfort zone just means that you're going to walk a little further into that space and maybe just change your position within that overall realm of doing things. In the church example, instead of being the person who's sitting listening to the sermon, if they say, hey, give us 10 minutes of your time to listen or to listen to you speak, you can do that. You are vested and interested and you know what's in your heart and you have thoughts on the subject. You're not doing something that makes you wildly uncomfortable. You're just doing something that's a little bit out of the norm that can push you to grow and be better. Because once you do that, once you give the speech, once you stand up in the front of the church or stand up in front of the classroom and you give the 10-minute speech or 15-minute speech on the topic you're interested in and the topic you love, once you accomplish that, then you get flooded with these feelings of, wow, hey, I really did know what I was talking about. Or I really did like doing that. Yes, it was outside my comfort zone, but gosh, it was so cool to do. And that is so beautiful. And I think that is so important for lots of reasons because, one, it highlights growth. It also points out and highlights your potential for growth and to become better at the things that you may have not explored yet. And that can lead to lots of other things. If you say, you know, that 10 minutes I spent in the front of that classroom, even though I was super nervous to give that presentation, even though I was really apprehensive about going out on a limb and speaking my mind and giving my thoughts about that thing or that topic or that, event, it really worked out for the best because now I gave the presentation. I got great feedback. People were like, wow, you know so much about this. Thanks so much. That was really great. You have opened up that level of confidence in you by stepping outside your comfort zone. So you looked at your comfort zone and you said, here's where this is. I'm nervous. I don't necessarily want to do this. It's way outside my comfort zone. You took the next step and you started. We've talked a lot about that too. Just start, right? There's no perfect time. Just go ahead and start. So you did that. You took the next step. You just started. You got things rolling. You walked into it. And then once you've started, once you've taken that first step, once you've kicked things off, then things get easier. You can start your momentum and build it. That's another episode if you want to go back and listen. We have an episode about momentum. But you can keep right on rolling within that space. And you can do a great job. And from that great job comes, like I said, the boost of confidence and the feeling of doing something that worked out really well and that you love doing. And then you will feel happier. You will feel accomplished. And also it will lead you down a path of a place where you can say, hey, I know this is something I can do now. I have grown 2 days ago, 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever. There's no way on earth I ever thought that I could ever stand up in front of a class, a church, a group, or whatever and speak my mind about X, Y, and Z and be passionate about it and actually do a good job. You're probably thinking you never could have convinced me of that, 6 months ago. But now that you've done it and now that you've walked through that, then you're in this really beautiful place where you feel happy and accomplished because you have grown and you've achieved something great. And what better place to be than where you are happy and excited to be the person you are. And that's the type of beautiful growth that can come from stepping outside your comfort zone. And I use an example of a church or a classroom or presentation. This can apply to all walks of your life. No matter what you are currently involved in and what you are currently doing, there are always ways to grow within that same space. And so think about the things in your life that you are doing or that you enjoy or that you're passionate about and you spend your time on, and think about other ways within that same activity or that same event or that same space where you can grow. And I guarantee you there are ways you can step outside your comfort zone and do more with what you are currently doing. Maybe you're someone, I've been in the fire service a long time. Maybe you're if you're in the fire service or a first responder, awesome, this can apply to you. Even if you're someone in a job, you work in an office, this can also apply to you. If your job is the same set of things that you do every day or every week and every month that you work on, and that's all well and good, and you're happy doing it, you're like, here's my job, I like my job, I'm good at it, we're cruising right along. If all of a sudden someone asks you to take on a little more responsibility, at first there is usually a little apprehension of saying, oh gosh, I don't know if I'm the one for that task. I don't know if I'm the one that can do this or can accomplish it. That is outside my comfort zone. But if you take a really hard, long look at it and you say, well, you know what? It is outside my comfort zone, but it does relate to my job. It is something I know how to do. It is something I've seen my boss do or my coworker do or my superior do. I think I can do it. I think I can handle it. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it my best try and my best go of it. And again, we have an episode about that too. Just try. Giving your best effort will get you so far no matter what you're putting your interest into and your energy into. Just try and make a good, strong effort and push to get something accomplished. So no matter what it is, your job, your hobby, if it's in the world of firefighting or first response or police, whatever it is, whatever realm you can think of it in, okay? I'm using those as examples because they're things that are obviously near and dear to my heart, but this can apply to everything. Look at your day job and look at the things you do. Look at your role within your own household, your role within your parent-teacher organization, your role within your kid's sports team as a parent, whatever it is. I don't care what it is. There are places you can walk outside your comfort zone and expand your knowledge and your ability, and it can lead to really beautiful growth. Now, the opposite side of this that we talked about, that I introduced at the beginning of the episode, was being uncomfortable. And so growth happens when we walk outside our comfort zone. And I know that people have said there's a lot of memes and a lot of leadership and a lot of motivational stuff that talks about, when you're most uncomfortable, that's when the great change happens. And yes, but I'd like to think of that within the realm of walking outside your comfort zone. Things that make you truly uncomfortable, I believe at least, are never going to lead you to a place where you are happy with the results if you do them. Now, I want you to think of uncomfortable in the most literal sense of the word you can think of. Uncomfortable, worried, nervous, not okay, not well, right? That type of situation will not lead to positive growth the way it will when you step outside your comfort zone. And I think the easiest way to look at this is very bluntly with a statement like, give me something that makes you uncomfortable. Okay, meeting a strange man in a dark alley at 3 o'clock in the morning should make just about every person listening uncomfortable, right? Unless you're a former Navy SEAL or a member of the SWAT team, right? Typically, it's going to make you a little uncomfortable. Doing something that makes you physically uncomfortable is not necessarily going to lead to a good sense of growth or a good type of growth. Sticking your hand in a pot of boiling water, or even a pot of water that's too hot for human touch, is uncomfortable. And it doesn't lead to positive growth. It leads to you being burned or scalded or worse, needing medical attention. So why do I say this? Because walking outside your comfort zone and being uncomfortable should be something you look at and examine when it comes to all the things in your life and all the things you're going to pursue and or stick with. If there is something in your life that you're involved in and it is making you uncomfortable, it's time to walk away from it. Don't stay just because someone else says you should stay. Don't stay because you think someone is relying on you. Don't stay just because you feel like you have an obligation to X, Y, or Z commitment or X, Y, or Z person. If there is something that's making you uncomfortable, get out of there. Go away, right? We wouldn't stay in the uncomfortable situation. So again, the dark alley with the stranger in it, right, at 3 o'clock in the morning, we're not going to stay and hang out, even if we find ourselves in that situation. We're going to leave and get out because we know that nothing good can come of this. The same is true with situations you're uncomfortable in. Nothing good can come from you staying in something that makes your heart and your mind uneasy, uncomfortable, and feel broken, where you get that gut reaction of, oh God, this is awful. This is not for me. I need to get the heck out of here. So that being said, take stock of what you're doing and take stock of what you have going on in your life and all the things you are involved in. There's probably at least one or two on the list that make you uncomfortable, and it's not good to stick with them just for the sense of staying with them. We've talked a lot about obligation to others, service to others, burnout, all that kind of stuff, the things that add up and make you feel empty and depleted, and typically they hinge on you giving too much of yourself to someone else or some other group, and that's not good. Now, we can walk ourselves back from burnout. We can learn to balance our lives. We can learn to set some healthy boundaries, and that's a good thing. And those are things we can stay with. But if there are commitments in your life or obligations or situations that you are truly feeling not okay about, it's time to go and it's time to leave. Because hear me when I tell you, happiness is not something you can draw out of or pull out of a situation that makes you uncomfortable. Let me say that again. Happiness is not something you can pull out of a situation that makes you uncomfortable. Can you pull happiness out of walking outside your comfort zone? Yes, absolutely. Can you pull happiness out of a commitment that you might feel too busy with at this point, but you really do love and you want to stick with? Yes, absolutely. If you are giving too much of yourself in something that you're involved in some commitment that you like, you can say, I'm gonna set some boundaries. I'm gonna stick with this group, this organization, this commitment, this obligation, whatever. I'm gonna still serve this because I like it and I enjoy it, and that's what I set out to do, and it really does bring me joy. But I have to set some boundaries about how much of myself I give to this. That's perfectly okay. Now, the other side of that coin is that when you do that, it will bring you even more joy and more happiness, because you'll say, wow, I love this thing that I'm involved in. It's really beautiful. It's really great. It's always been special to me. I've always found a special place in my heart for it. I was just a little too involved and it was taking too much of my time or too much of my energy. But now that I've set this healthy boundary, gosh, I love this so much more. It makes me so happy. I'm so happy that I stuck with it and stayed involved, because now I'm in a really good place with a really healthy balance and a good boundary, and I like being involved in this thing. It makes me happy. It makes me comfortable now. It makes me joyful now. I feel like I have so much to give to others, and I can help others learn and teach them and help other people get involved in the same event or the same cause or the same organization. And that's a beautiful thing to do. That's a wonderful place to be with your life, where you can say that you have walked back into the space that you feel happy and comfortable with something you started serving probably for those very same reasons. You were interested, you had a special place in your heart for A, B, and C, and so you started getting involved, and somewhere along the line, maybe you just gave it a little too much energy. We can walk back from that, set a healthy boundary, and still be happy with it. Now, back to uncomfortable. If you are uncomfortable with something, with a group, a situation, an organization, a commitment in your life, an obligation in your life, a set of people, a set of rules, whatever it is, even setting boundaries in something that makes you uncomfortable will not let you pull any happiness out of it. If it makes you uncomfortable, you are never going to find the joy in it, even if you say, oh, hey, I'm really busy, this takes a lot of my energy. So you set some boundaries and you say, I'm going to give it a little bit less of my energy so I can feel more balanced. Even if you do that, if it's something that you're uncomfortable with, that's giving you that gut feeling of discomfort and just things are not okay, no amount of boundary is going to fix that and bring you back to a place where you feel better about it or feel good about it. And that's not good. So look at the things in your life. Take a really long, hard look. Look at them under a microscope if you have to. But there are probably things that you're involved in or situations you're involved in that it's time to walk away from and time to leave, because they have either make you uncomfortable now, or they've been making you uncomfortable for some time and you just haven't done anything about it. The other thing involved in that idea is that things that once you were okay with might make you uncomfortable. Because let's face it, human nature is that people change. No matter who you're involved in, whether it's a relationship, a marriage, a group, an event, an organization, a group of peers, a paid board, a nonprofit, I don't care what it is. Every group that is made up of people has the potential to drastically change based on who is involved, what their motives are, and how they start acting or keep acting as people. So please know that if there's something in your life that you started giving your time and energy to because you used to like it, and all of a sudden now it makes you uncomfortable, that's perfectly okay. And this hinges a lot on involvement with other people. People change, and some people, unfortunately, don't have very pure motives. And you might have loved something at one point in your life, and you might have found so much joy in it, and now you said, you know what, I am uncomfortable staying in this situation because of X, Y, and Z, and it's time to walk away. Give yourself permission to do that. We as people starve ourselves so often of the permission to do the things that make us feel happy and comfortable and joyful and justified. But know that, hear me right now when I tell you, you have my permission, and you need to give yourself permission to walk away from those things in your life that make you uncomfortable. What the heck are you going to stay for? Are you going to stay and hope that after 4 years of being uncomfortable, maybe something will change and you'll be a little bit more comfortable? But now you'll be 4 years older and your kids will be 4 more years grown up, and you'll have spent 4 years walking on eggshells because you really were so nervous about whatever the event or the group was. Every single time you were involved, you never could get yourself to a place where you actually liked going because it was nothing but one big ball of nerves for you. That's just silly. Don't do that. Don't do that. Walk away from the things that make you uncomfortable. And that's what we're going to wrap up and end with. We're going to put this back into the scope. I want you to think of just think of a big circle, okay? The things that make you uncomfortable should always be on the outside of that circle. If you're in the center of it and there's a circle around you, inside that circle, put the people and the things that you love and enjoy, and let that be what you surround yourself with. The things that make you uncomfortable should be outside the circle. Let them stay out there and let the circle serve as a boundary. Don't let them in. People talk a lot about your inner circle. It is so important to keep yourself safe within that space. Walking outside your comfort zone doesn't mean leaving the circle. It means making your circle a little bit bigger. And I'm a visual person. If you're a visual person too, think of that for me. Think of yourself in the center of this circle, and it's drawn around you. And within the circle with you are all the good things you like, your friends, your family, the commitments you find meaningful, and the things you like giving your time and energy to. And then outside the circle, all the things that make you feel uncomfortable and the things you don't want to let in because you know they will rob you of your peace and your peace of mind and your energy. So you keep them outside the circle. Visualize that for me. You got that in your head? You, a circle around you. Good things in the middle next to you, bad things outside the circle. Okay? Ready? Now, when we walk outside our comfort zone, that doesn't mean walking outside the circle towards the bad things and the things that make us uncomfortable. It means the circle gets bigger, and we have more space within ourselves and more space around us because we have grown and the circle has grown, because growth is such a beautiful and necessary thing that now we have more room in the middle of the circle with us for other things we find meaningful. New relationships, new roles within the things we are already involved in, new job positions, promotions, new friendships, new responsibilities in the place of old responsibilities. We have the room for growth because the circle just keeps getting bigger. You don't have to walk outside of that. And please hear me when I tell you that protecting your peace and protecting your energy and protecting your way of life and the things you find valuable and meaningful will help you stay happy and grateful in a place where you can look around you and see things that are meaningful and see things that you're grateful for. If all the things around you inside that circle are the things that make you happy and the things you can look to say, wow, this is great. I love this person. I love this event. I love this group. I love this responsibility. I love my job. Yes, that is possible. I promise. If you can look around you and see all those things, gratefulness and happiness will always be around you, and you can always look and you can always reach out and touch it and grab it. And if you keep the things that make you uncomfortable and unhappy outside that circle, when you look around, you won't see them because they'll be so far removed from you and those other things around you that you do love and that you do like that you won't have to stare at them all the time. This is possible. I promise. And yes, it is sustainable. So do this for me today. As you leave here today, take a look around you. Find the things that make you uncomfortable and put them outside your circle. If that means walking away from something, give yourself permission to do that. It is okay. This is your life. No one is going to fix it for you. No one is going to find ways to make you happy every single day. Yes, people in our lives are good to us and love us and bring us happiness and joy, but it is up to us to make sure we are putting the things that are most important to us right in front of us and right around us. So do that for me. Look at the things in your life. Take the things that make you uncomfortable and push them far outside the circle. If that means walking away, do it. Those things that are around you, that are close to you, embrace those, enhance those, love them, look at them, stay with them. And if you need to walk outside your comfort zone and you have the chance to grow and to make things a little bit better and to make your circle bigger, go ahead and do that. Believe in yourself and the power you have to control your own life day by day. And believe in yourself and the power you have to expand your circle and to expand the size of your comfort zone. And the way we do that is we make that circle a little bit bigger. Thank you, folks, so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate your time so much. Please like, follow, and subscribe to this podcast. You can also go find me on other social media. I am on TikTok, Instagram. I also have a Facebook group that I'm trying to be more responsible with and post a little bit more content in, and I also am on YouTube. So please, please, please come find me, come follow me. As always, I appreciate you listening more than I can say. Always reach out if you have questions or comments or require any type of service when it comes to coaching or speaking. Have a very, very blessed day. Thanks very much. Thanks for tuning in to Todd Talk. If you've liked what you've heard, please go ahead and subscribe and follow along so you don't miss any updates or new episodes. Thanks very much and enjoy the rest of your day.